In campus news, Ball State officials weighed in on protests and students' freedom of speech.
Plus, Ball State had a famous visitor on campus today. Find out what 90s sitcom star spoke to students.
And it's hard to believe that temperatures will go up before they come back down. We'll have these changes coming up. NewsLink Indiana starts now.
Live from the Ball State News Center, this is NewsLink Indiana in high definition.
Good evening and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Cameron DeBlasio.
And I'm Esther Bauer. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Well, a peaceful difference of opinion this afternoon on the Ball State campus. A religious evangelist drew a small crowd as he turned the rim of the Frog Baby fountain into an impromptu rant. Some bystanders tried to drown him out, one of them with bagpipes. Freedom of speech and freedom of assembly can pose challenges for university officials, and they talked about it at a forum the other day. NewsLink reporter Bree Isom was there.
Our country is granted freedom of speech, and universities take this opportunity seriously. Ball State students gathered on campus to protest the inauguration of President Trump earlier this year with permission from the university. The protest was peaceful and contained no violence. Roanne Engel, the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Services, says freedom of speech on campus is important.
That is, as a public institution, we receive public funding through the state, so that is even more one of the important things with Ball State specifically.
Some students gathered at a forum last Thursday to discuss free speech with campus officials.
We'll learn about some challenges and also some opportunities to express our right to speak and assemble.
Okay, so you're saying
students posed many questions to the officials about how the university is handling freedom of speech and protests now. It is required that students notify the university about wanting to make a protest. Students need to fill out a university policy for expressive activities form in order to protest. It can be found online in the conduct code policy. It's required for 50 or more people in a protest, but it is recommended for smaller groups just so everything goes smoothly.
And so you just tell us what date you're looking for, the time of day that you're looking for your event to happen, a little bit about what you're planning to do, just so that we can understand logistically what might be required.
The university has set aside 3 locations for student expression, and the Quad is one of them. The other 2 locations are the University Green and La Follette Field. Chief Duckham, chief of police at the University Police Department, says that violence is the one thing that has to happen in order for the police to get involved.
But just because, they say something, you're bad, and that maybe upsets you, I'm not going to intervene on that. That's not the role of the police department.
Officials from the event want students to come forward with any further questions on their freedom of speech on campus. In Muncie, Bree Isom, NewsLink, Indiana.
Well, there's free speech and then there's hate speech and worse. Today in 11 states, a wave of bomb threats hit Jewish centers and schools, including the Jewish Community Center right here in Indianapolis. Police say they did not find any bombs. However, Mayor Joe Hogsett released a statement today saying, quote, "I am appalled to hear of this morning's threat against the Jewish Community Center. I stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters to disavow and condemn these threats of violence. I am dismayed by the acts of anti-Semitism we are seeing across the country and know that we must join together as one people to reject bigotry and prejudice." The FBI and the Justice Department are still investigating these threats.
Well, voting opened today for the 2 slates vying to lead the Student Government Association next school year. The voting period began this morning at 8. The 2 executive slates, Optic and Ignite, have been campaigning for about a month since the groups were named as the 2 options for SGA Executive Board. Optic, led by Greg Carbo, has laid out platform points centered around insight, innovation, and inclusion. Ignite, headed by Gabrielle Lloyd, is focused on creating a more inclusive and transparent student leadership. Students should have received an email that allows them to access a voting link. The voting will close tomorrow night at 5, and we will have more election updates on NewsLink Indiana tomorrow night.
Members of the Ball State College Republicans went to the nation's capital this weekend. NewsLink Indiana's Brenton Roy has the full story on the group's participation in CPAC.
This weekend, members of the Ball State College Republicans made their way to Washington, D.C. to attend the Conservative Political Action Conference. There, conservatives gathered for a weekend of speeches, networking, and the chance to meet their favorite public figure. Chairman of the Ball State College Republicans, Andrew Hammer, compared President Trump's visit to CPAC to that of Ronald Reagan.
CPAC is a big deal. It's been going on for nearly 40, 50 years now, and this year was a milestone having President Trump come in his first month or so in office. It's the first time a president has come in his first year in office since Ronald Reagan did it in 1981.
Vice Chairman of the BSU GOP, Isaac Miller, noticed that the trend that many of the attendees weren't the classic Republican stereotype, but captivated millennials and college students.
I think the thing that stood out for me from this weekend was that the conservative parties, the Republican Party, is more applicable to younger generations and millennials than I think what's kind of portrayed. I think a lot of time people assume that college kids or millennials are automatically liberals or automatically Democrats, and that's just not in any way accurate. I think CPAC kind of resembles that and shows that.
Miller wasn't the only one. Hammer also noticed the trend as well.
It's actually a lot of college students. There's a lot of college Republican students that are there.
It seems with CPAC being a prime example that the younger generation is energized about the future of the conservative movement. In Muncie, I'm Brenton Roy, NewsLink, Indiana.
Now, specific issues such as tax reform and health care were discussed at the convention and how Republican leaders will accomplish all of these tasks.
Mike Pence is petitioning the Indiana Supreme Court not to review a public records denial. According to the Indy Star, the records request for Pence's emails was made in 2014 by Indianapolis attorney William Groth. Pence produced the requested emails, but the documents included substantial redaction. One paper within the redaction could reveal Republican political strategies used by Pence and other governors to fight an executive order concerning immigration issued by former President Barack Obama. Groth is also asking whether the Court of Appeals improperly created a deliberative materials exception to state public records.
Republicans returned to Washington today to discuss the future of Obamacare. President Donald Trump noted the complexity of the nation's health laws in a meeting with governors, focusing on the expansion of Medicaid. Although Trump has not gotten behind a GOP replacement measure, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Paul Ryan hope to convince him to support it. Trump gave few details about his health care plan, which promised to increase competition and decrease costs. To repeal and replace Obamacare would also give states the flexibility they need to make health care work. In a press conference earlier today, Trump commented on why health care is at the top of his to-do list.
I say to the Republicans, if you really want to do politically something good, don't do anything. Sit back for a period of 2 years, because 17 is going to be a disaster for Obamacare if we don't do something. Let it be a disaster, because we can blame that on the Dems that are in our room, and we can blame that on the Democrats and President Obama. Let it implode, and then let it implode in 18 even worse. Don't do anything. And they will come begging for us to do something. But that's not the fair thing to do for the people. Not the fair thing.
Trump is expected to touch on health care during his first address to a joint session of Congress Tuesday evening.
So turning our attention to weather, Esther, I don't even know what to say about this past weekend. We were in the 70s on Friday.
And then I woke up on Saturday to snow. Honestly, I thought I was dreaming.
It's crazy.
Nathan, can you please give me some clarity on this weather?
Yeah, guys, it's been a wild last couple days. That is for sure. Severe weather, 70s, back to cold temperatures. Now we're climbing back up. Tonight, however, radar regionally remains pretty active, especially out to the west. This will be the next system to impact our area. Closer to home, we just have a few high clouds impacting the forecast for this evening. It won't allow our temperatures to drop off too much, but the rain showers are out of the forecast for now. Today, temperatures all across the state reached up to 52 degrees here in Muncie, 54 in Kokomo, and they'll climb even higher for tomorrow. For the bus stop forecast, 8 a.m., a few rain showers could be in the forecast. The kiddos will need their rain jackets in the morning, 48, and then by the time we get to the afternoon, 64. The cloudy skies, there will be a chance of some thunderstorms. Well, coming up, we're going to talk if there's going to be anything that will be severe, a drop in the temperatures, and then a positive outlook for the weekend. That'll be coming up in my full forecast.
Looking forward to it, Nathan. Thank you. Well, do you get anxious about advertising yourself to potential employers? Well, Ball State has a workshop to help you break out of your shell.
And some major changes could come to campus for bikers. All this and more after the break.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome back. Well, Ball State is giving those who consider themselves introverts an opportunity to learn networking. NewsLink Indiana's Mary Eber has more.
Do you get anxious about advertising yourself to potential employers? Do you worry about how you can get a job when you don't really know how to network? Kathy Day, the English Department Assistant Chair, and Ailish Wasserman, Assistant Director Career Coach, will be co-presenting Networking for Introverts, a workshop for students to learn how to widen their professional circles.
I think that there's a lot of strengths that you have as an introvert. And so both of us have gone through life as introverts and realized the best way that we can connect to others.
They hope to connect with students through networking activities as well as discussions. Kathy Day specializes in creative writing, and she and Ailish Wasserman saw a need for this program.
Many of our majors, they stay in our major a lot of times because they are so introverted. They're attracted to the fact that they can just sort of be in their heads a lot. And I know that it's really hard for them to make that jump to trying to develop a professional identity.
They want to make the transition easier for students.
Being an introvert, you're not used to that word networking, or that's something that, you know, creates some anxiety.
Trying to sort of take away the aspects of it that make them leery and make them more comfortable. That's my overall goal.
Networking for Introverts is a part of the English Department series, Stars to Steer By, that provides career-focused monthly events. In Muncie, Mary Eber, NewsLink, Indiana.
The event takes place tomorrow at 5 p.m. in room 104 of Bracken Library. For more information about the series, visit bsuenglish.wordpress.com. And now, Esther, I have to ask, did you ever watch the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
I actually did, and speaking of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, in West Philadelphia, born and raised, known for her role as Ashley Banks, Tatiana Ali made an appearance tonight at Ball State University and had a few things to say to students on campus.
Yeah, Jenna Liston is live in the newsroom with more. Jenna?
Thanks, guys. Yes, as many of you know her for her role as Ashley Banks, as one of the most beautiful women in the world, known by People magazine, Tatiana Ali wanted to be more than just her role on TV. With her success, Tatiana's speech was one of the first she has done in months on a college campus to express the education of youth and the importance of leadership in the community. And as March is declared Disabilities Awareness Month, Tatiana touched on how much her perspective has changed over the past 5 months, explaining to the audience that we are all politically involved and it is up to you how politically involved you are. With as times as her actress, she expresses the importance of storytelling to her audience and how we as students at a university can change the world if we choose to do so and end discrimination. Live in the newsroom, Jenna Liston, back to you guys.
Alrighty, thank you, Jenna. Well, the Office of Student Life is hosting a public event Wednesday to unveil the initial plans for a more bicycle-friendly Ball State. The BSU Bicycle Master Plan will be the center of conversation during the event, with emphasis being placed on creating a more sustainable campus by encouraging bicycling. The plan includes better lanes, cowpath improvements, connections to future trails and bike facilities, a bike share system, and bike parking. The event will be held Wednesday at 4 in room 310 of the Student Center. And now, well, it might be getting a little too cold to ride your bikes across campus. Nathan, what do we got coming up?
Yeah, so temperatures are warming up. In fact, we're going to talk all about this when we come back from break in just a few.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to theshelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to theshelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. Now, Cameron, Nathan mentioned we might have some rain coming up in the forecast.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that at all. Nathan, how much of that are we going to be seeing?
Yeah, guys, we're going to have a warm-up, rain showers, thunderstorms, cool down. We just have a mixture of things going on this evening, but currently sitting at 45 degrees at the top of the hour. Winds are out of the south-southeast at 7 miles per hour. Look at that beautiful live look over Riverside and McKinley Avenue. A few students taking that advantage of not seeing any rain this evening and headed out. However, temperatures over the last 24 hours are actually increasing. The 24-hour temperature change map shows a beautiful picture of 2 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago here in Muncie. Places like Champaign, 15 degrees warmer. That's headed our way for tomorrow. Precision Cast Temperatures paints this picture very well. Look at temperatures at 9 p.m. yet this evening, 44 degrees. We just talked about that just a few seconds ago, but look what happens. These green colors indicate much milder temperatures. Those will move into the state of Indiana, and yes, you are seeing mid-60s are possible for tomorrow's daytime high. Tonight, however, we are going to cool down to 43. We are going to call it overcast. There's a few high clouds out there left this evening. A few rain showers could impact the morning commute in particular, and winds will remain out of the south-southeast at 11 miles per hour. Precision Cast is going to really show us what the next 48 hours are going to look like for us. Starting here at Tuesday at 10 a.m., you notice heavy cloud cover all across the state of Indiana, and that'll build across the region. You know, scattered rain showers in nature, that's what will impact that morning commute. As we progress through time during the day, you notice more and more chances of thunderstorms returns back to the forecast. Some of these storms could be on the severe side, and here at NewsLink Indiana, we'll be keeping an eye on those all throughout the day. Here's by midnight of Wednesday, you notice that we still see those bands of thunderstorms, a few that could be severe, move through the area. What's the primary factor in tomorrow's weather is going to be the wind gusts. This map shows the wind gusts that will be future casted out here. South 24 miles. Those are just the wind gusts themselves, not the sustained winds. The brighter colors indicate anticipate much stronger winds that'll be impacting our area. And as that front gets closer and closer to Indiana, that will increase those chances of seeing more gusty winds. The severe threat for tomorrow still remains as a slight. Some of the southern areas continue to be under enhanced. Damaging winds is going to be the biggest factor in the severe weather for tomorrow. The 7-day forecast not looking too bad. By the time we get to Thursday, we're finally going to be able to see that sunshine return back to the forecast high just at 44 degrees. That's because that cold front will move into the area, allowing temperatures to cool down. We've been talking about it all night, that cool down in temperatures. But look, there is hope as we go into the weekend as Ball State goes on spring break. 57 degrees. So we will climb back up slowly for the weekend, I promise.
Okay, well, that sounds great, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Nathan, thank you for that.
Okay, so Peter, it sounds like our basketball teams are going to be seeing some pretty intense play down the
Well,
stretch.
absolutely. As Nathan said, spring break right around the corner for Ball State. That means conference tournaments right around the corner ahead. We'll take a look at where the Ball State men's and women's basketball teams are at in the standings and what they have ahead in this week to come. That's next in sports.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, good evening, everybody. With just 2 games remaining in the regular season, the Ball State men's basketball team is still jostling for position in a jumbled Mid-American Conference race. Tomorrow, a trip to Toledo, and a lot on the line once again. Here's what the standings look like heading in. Cardinals currently tied for first in the MAC West with Western Michigan, but the top 4 seeds, regardless of division, get an automatic first-round bye to Cleveland in the MAC tournament. That's what everybody is looking for. Ball State fell from the 4 to the 6 after taking this shellacking against Western Michigan on Saturday. But head coach James Whitford says they're focused on the next one, and they're trying to approach it like a Super Bowl champion.
The key to being successful in these moments is as silly as it sounds and as redundant as it sounds, to stay focused in the present. And one of the guys that is the best at guiding his team through it is Bill Belichick. And if you ever watch him, I mean, he's relentless in his kind of concept about just staying locked in at the moment, because all that other stuff draws your focus away. And it's about, that's it, being focused in the moment, getting ready for the game.
Hey, interesting stuff there from head coach James Whitford. Men's set to tip off at 7 tomorrow in Toledo. Meanwhile, the women are headed to Eastern Michigan on Wednesday. They've already clinched their spot in Cleveland. Now, the final 2 games of their regular season are about chasing a championship. Amanda Smith has more.
In its final week of the regular season, Ball State women's basketball team is tied with Central Michigan for first in the conference, but head coach Brady Sallee says their focus isn't on the rankings.
We just treat each game for what it is. We look at the challenges we're going to have, and we try to be at our best. And like I told them at the beginning of this thing, we're just going to go try to win them all. And if we do, great. If we don't, we'll figure out why we didn't and go from there.
Now, if the Cardinals win their next 2 games, they'll win at least a share of the MAC championship. But Brady Satley says their only focus right now is on Eastern Michigan.
It literally is all hands on deck for Wednesday, and that's kind of been our mantra all year. This team has done really good at not getting too far ahead of itself, not worrying too much about what we can't control, and just really preparing for the next one on the schedule.
We've been like one game at a time, like 1-0 today every single week of the year, and this is not going to be any different. So just game by game, and then whatever's next, we'll take it.
Well, what's next for Ball State after traveling home from Ypsilanti is their final game of the regular season Saturday at Worthern against Toledo. In Muncie, Amanda Smith, NewsLink, Indiana.
Thank you, Amanda. Here's what the standings look like on the women's side heading into Wednesday's game. You can see Ball State tied for first. Central Michigan has the tiebreaker atop the Mid-American Conference for seeding purposes, but the Cardinals can still share a MAC championship with the Chippewas. They have already clinched their spot in Cleveland. So, guys, we know they will be inside Quicken Loans Arena for the MAC tournament, but now it's just a matter of can they win themselves a regular season championship.
Yeah, well, I know that we're looking forward to see how they do with these championship games coming up.
Absolutely. It should be interesting.
Thank you so much, Peter. Well, coming up, Hollywood's Elite gathered last night for the 89th Annual Academy Awards.
Yeah, we'll have your full recap after the break in your entertainment news.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Welcome back. I'm Samantha Ayersman with your entertainment news. The 89th annual Oscars were held last night, and it was nothing short of memorable. The most notable moment of the evening was when La La Land was incorrectly announced as the Best Picture. The cast had already begun to accept their award when they were informed that Moonlight actually was the winner. Oscar overseer PricewaterhouseCoopers released a statement promising an investigation. La La Land was not completely left out last night, however. Emma Stone took home the award for Best Actress for her role in the film. The award for Best Actor went to Casey Affleck for his role in Manchester by the Sea, and Viola Davis took home the award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Fences. This makes her the first African American to win an Oscar, Emmy, and Tony for acting roles. In addition to those awards, host Jimmy Kimmel took jabs at President Trump throughout the night. That's all for your entertainment news. Now back to you at the desk.
Okay, thanks very much, Sam. Nathan, let's get one final look at that weather tonight.
Yeah, so we have a wild forecast ahead of us. 64 tomorrow, a chance of thunderstorms returns back to the forecast. You could see just a few severe thunderstorms possible, damaging winds as the primary threat right now. Wednesday, 60 degrees, but by the time we roll into Thursday, that cold front will have moved through the area. Temperatures will begin to cool down back into the 40s and 30s, which we usually see this time of year. By the time we get to the weekend, Ball State going into spring break, we're going to see those 60s return back to East Central Indiana.
All right, Nathan, thank you so much. Well, that's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Now be sure to watch tomorrow night at 9 p.m. right here on Cardinal Vision.
And be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a great night.
You've been watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.